Hey there, welcome to the garden. I just finished up a video talking about ordering plants online, and I'm going to go now and plant those plants in the garden and then also do a few garden chores out here. We're just in a kind of a season of maintenance right now. That's a lot of what I've been doing when I'm out here in the garden, but it's a beautiful summer day, getting a little warm, but I'm going to try to get as much as I can done, some pruning, some different care things. Let's talk about what we're planting today. So the first thing I'm going to plant is this Fragrant Cloud Honeysuckle, and this is a height about 6 to 10 feet, and it can grow in full sun to partial shade. So I'm actually going to put it right in this corner of the garden. It's like right along this fence line, and there's not really anything in it. The lemony lace elderberry is growing up through that area, but I don't think it'll interfere with this honeysuckle growing up the fence, and it is really partial shade. In the afternoon, the sun really comes in, and then also there's a period of time in the morning. You can see that the elderberry actually got scorched a little bit because our neighbors trimmed their tree, and that freed up a lot of light, which is not a problem for me. I'm perfectly happy because any sunlight like in my garden is really a treat. So that's fine, but it makes a nice part shade area for this Fragrant Cloud Honeysuckle, which is supposed to be a pretty easy, like low maintenance honeysuckle, really pretty chill, and beautiful flowers that flower all season. That was really a goal for me, was to have something that would flower all season. And what I've been debating is whether or not to grow it in a pot, like in a container, or to just plant it directly in the landscape. And the reason I'm thinking about growing it in a container at all really is because I know we aren't going to be in this property forever. Probably in the next 2-3 years, we're going to end up moving. And so the more and more I want to buy perennials, I'm also knowing like I probably won't be in this garden forever. And so I kind of want to like be able to easily take my little perennials with me. So I don't know, of course I could always dig it up. So that could be fine. Container. You know what? It's just such a little baby plant. If I plant it in a container, I'll be able to baby it a little bit and get it going. And then I can also try it out in that location and make sure it likes it. I'm going to start it in a container, but depending on how we feel, depending on how we like it, how it does, it may end up being like planted into the ground. That's the plan. One of the benefits of having a smaller garden is that I can kind of keep an eye on things. And so I think planting in this container will be really nice because I'll be able to just sort of make sure that it's doing okay. If it starts to languish or be unhappy, then I can plant it into the ground. But I can also put it in a full sun area just to get started, because I did order this plant online, and as you can see, it looks a little unhappy. It's not in the greatest shape, but it's not terrible. At least it has green leaves on it. I actually was expecting the plant to be delivered probably around I think it was supposed to come around my last frost date, which is in April, and now we're here and it's just arrived, so that was like a little delayed. But it has lots of new green shoots on it, which are promising. So there it goes into its pot, and then we'll let it kind of get started, almost like I'm its own little nursery, you know, just getting it going. So I feel good about that. I'm going to set it over with some of my other pots because I'm going to water it in at the end. Right now I want to do a little bit of sweeping, which is what I always end up doing every time I do garden chores. And so I want to at least be able to have things be dry while I'm sweeping. Sorry, I got distracted there because I noticed something has flattened all of my... What on earth? You know what I bet happened? I've noticed a little chipmunk, and I wonder if he got in here going after the corn kernels and like uprooted a bunch of my corn. Oh, this makes me mad. so mad. Oh my gosh. I'll see if I can stick these in here. They have a little bit of roots. Maybe they'll get started. Oh, that makes me so mad. Oh my gosh. That and my sunflowers got decimated too. Slugs came and like ate the tops off, or maybe it's this chipmunk. Oh my gosh. At least some of the corn is doing okay. Maybe I'll just have to come back in with like violas or something. Oh, but I'm so bummed. There's not really much I can do either, because even if I come back and reseed, he's just gonna come in and find that. Chipmunks don't cause me a lot of issues. This is the first problem I've had. We had a garden snake, a big garden snake, like a rat snake that was in the gardens, and I think was helping with the chipmunk issues. And then I think my neighbors put out some like pest control stuff, you know, just like deterrent, which is kind of sad, because you actually, as gross as snakes are, and they give me the heebie-jeebies, like they do freak me out, but you know, a good garden snake. This is when I knew I'd become a southern gardener. I grew up in Michigan in the Midwest, but I moved down here to Virginia, and now I'm like, I know I'm starting to be at home when I'm like grateful for the garden snake, because it actually was really helping. Oh, I'm so mad about the corn. Okay, let's do some more chores and get my mind off it. I'm gonna stop and enjoy a moment of success by looking at my container pond, which I love, and my little minnows that are doing so great. I don't know, can you see them in there swimming? My little minnows, these are the ruby red minnows, are doing great. They are happy. The container pond is healthy. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to have found like the secret sauce to make this work. That makes me feel so good. And the plantings over here look nice too. I do need to treat the agerantum today, so I will mix up some spray. And then one of my chores is I'm going to get rid of these suckers around my crepe myrtle. I was going to keep them to like grow more stems for my crepe myrtle, but then I've been reading that it's not good to let the suckers grow. So the suckers are going to come out. I may do some trimming on some of the dead branches on the elderberry, and then I need to clean out the dill that's dead in here and make this bed just look a little bit better. Although good things are happening with the cucumbers. They're looking really nice and big. And story of our summer, there's another thunderstorm rolling in. I keep coming out here to film, and then we have thunderstorms come in because this is what July is like here. It's fully just thunderstorms in the afternoon. And make it look much tidier around here, so that's nice. And look how well the zinnias are doing. This is a good test. This shows me that this area really is getting fully part shade now, if not some sun, because the zinnias would not be doing that well if they were getting, you know, no sun. So that's good news for this being a great spot for me to grow that honeysuckle. I have heard that it's an interesting strategy you can use if you want to know if an area like has the sun requirements that you think. Grow a plant, like grow a zinnia or a petunia, and see how they do, and you'll kind of be able to tell, is that really part sun? You know, if it's not, your petunia is not going to bloom, your zinnia is not going to bloom, it's going to stretch. And so that's like, if you've got an area where you're like, you just can't quite figure it out, you can always try to just grow something in it, and that's one way to kind of see what's actually going on. So I'm just gonna pop in here and take out some of the dill that's kind of, I don't know what has happened to it. I don't think it got quite enough sun in this bed. I was trying to grow it in part shade, which this bed is really part shade. It's just not, dill is not a part shade plant. So I was asking it to do something. It did not want to do. I'm just gonna take that out, and then I actually have some worm compost, and I'm gonna just throw that in there. Kind of compost around the cucumbers. I am also going to come in and take out just a few of these leaves on the cucumbers that are like the lower leaves. They're starting to look a little powdery, mildewy, and I just don't want to mess with, any issues like that. And I got some basil here. Oh, but I should harvest this. I was gonna just top it, like pinch it to harvest it, but I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna come back and actually take a bunch of this down because I want to start doing some preserving of my basil. So I'm not gonna trim that or anything yet, but just clean up this bed, make it look a little more orderly, see what we got here. Get all this dill out, and then just get all these leaves. So much better. It just looks so much better. This is all basil, actually. This is Greek dwarf basil, and that's gonna fill in even more now that it has a little bit of light. Take off these like powdery, see that white stuff? That's powdery mildew, and that is not surprising in our summer heat, but I'm gonna take out any leaves that I see that are infected by that, just to help it not spread through the rest of the garden. But when you do things like this, prune and care, look what we found. Look what I unearthed in here that I didn't even know was growing. Another cucumber. That's fun. This is the salad bush cucumber. I love it. Okay, I've got another little garden tragedy. So some of my tiny tomatoes look like this. It's pretty sad because if you've been around here, you know I love little micro tomato plants. I just had some kind of issue, some blight or something get in here, and it has caused so much problems for them. So I'm just gonna take off, like I just picked a few tomatoes that look okay. There's, no issue with the actual tomatoes themselves. We'll eat those. But yeah, the plants just shriveled up and died, which was so sad. So these are all gonna go into the worm compost. All right, next up is deadheading the butterfly bush, which the more you deadhead, the more flowers you get. So that is amazing. So what you want to do is come in and deadhead right above, like you'll see there's 2 blooms here, and then this is where I deadheaded, so that you get those, that next flush of blooms. Here's another example. You can see the new blooms here. So I can take off the spent blooms, but I'm just going to be careful that that new bloom doesn't get disturbed, so that I keep all the blooms possible. And then it'll flush back and get a whole new set of blooms. Now I'm gonna get after the tomatoes, which is kind of like a constant chore. I feel like in every video I'm like trimming the tomatoes. But yeah, I'm gonna trim just out any of these leaves that are looking crusty like that, and help free up all the fruit that's in here. Make sure that can all ripen up really nicely. But there's a lot of good tomatoes coming. It's gonna be tomato season here pretty darn quick. So that's really fun. And when I redid my little unheated greenhouse area, which I just love, I unearthed this adorable little eggplant, and look at how cute. I think this is ready to harvest. I need to try to go back and see which eggplant I planted in here, because oh my gosh, I don't remember. This could happen to me this season because I didn't label things. Like with a toddler and being pregnant, that was the thing that I like let go. Like, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna worry about labeling things. I'm just gonna plant and enjoy. So I am going to enjoy that eggplant no matter what. And I know it is supposed to be a small one because I do remember ordering seeds and I think, or buying a plant that had small eggplants like that. I just don't remember what the variety was. So I'm gonna get after the tomatoes, maybe harvest this eggplant. I don't know what we'll use it for, but we'll just throw it in something. The gomphrena that was in too much shade that I moved to full sun is putting on new blooms, which is really encouraging to see. But I just do need to get in here and deadhead all of the old growth that didn't look so good. Deadheading just keeps everything looking nice. And let's harvest. This is a gypsy pepper. Finally getting one. And I think that's the last of my garden chores. I am just going to do a tiny bit of watering because there are a couple containers that are looking a little bit dry. Even though we got rain coming this afternoon, I want to just give them a little bit of something just in case the rain doesn't come or we don't get too much. And that's it. I'll keep you posted on the honeysuckle. I'll let you know how it does. We'll get that all watered in, and I'm just going to enjoy a little snack. Tastes a lot like a banana pepper. If you've seen those gypsy peppers at the store, basically tastes like a banana pepper. Okay, I'm gonna enjoy my pepper, water my garden, and I hope you're having a wonderful day in your garden. I'll talk to you in the next one.